Oh, excuse me. All right. So, excuse me, Wayne. I know the stream is like really late at night. I understand that it might not get the views that I would love to have it get. But without further ado, I think I really need to just get all of this stuff out in the open and get rocking and rolling with a pickups video, because essentially this is all it really is. It's a giant pickups video, stream, whatever, um, whatever you want to call it. We just finished the most current episode. We are live, October 12th, 2022. We just finished this week's episode of the N Squared podcast, which you can find on Apple Podcast. Oh my gosh, what is the other one? I'm spacing out. We are on Spotify. There we go. You can also find us on Audible and various other streaming platforms. Without further delay, we should probably just get into my pickups and stuff. Well, I guess, you know what? First and foremost, if you guys don't follow me on social media, you might not have known that I have started a podcast. So let's just get that out there right away. Let me go ahead and double check my mic volume real quick too. I need to make sure my gain is up. Make sure I've got the right setting on. There we go. So anyways, I started a podcast. Goodness, I want to say in March. And I know, and whatever, I'm sorry that I have not been active on my YouTube channel really at all this whole year. I had so many ideas and stuff, and I failed to deliver. And that's what it came down to, is I failed to deliver. An idiot when it comes to video editing software. I am horrible at timing when to film things. I have all these ideas in my head and can never get them out onto paper or onto a video, physical media. So, YouTuber, and probably am not even worth the title of YouTuber. But anyways, let's just with all of that said, pushed aside and stuff, I'm sorry to all my subscribers that have been kind of wondering where I've been, what I've been up to, what I've been doing. I'm an independent contractor now, so I've got a new line of work. I have still been hugely into pro wrestling, even more so than, the past. I'm getting married next month in November, and my daughter is in the third grade, third grade. I can't believe it. It's so crazy how fast time is going by. I don't understand where the time is gone. Life happens, and when life happens, it happens fast. But here we are. So yeah, I think we should just go ahead and get into it from this angle and everything. I've got my box light right here, set up and everything. I didn't set up my second one because I was like, why bother? It's already 12 a.m. No one's going to be watching this anyways, but I figure I have all this stuff that I've been putting to the side to the video, and I'm like, you know what? I just need to go ahead and get this on a stream because at this point I don't have time to film a video, edit a video. I hardly have time to get my podcast out on time. So let's go ahead and just talk about my pickups. So a lot of these pickups are going to come from Game On Expo, Tucson Comic Con, and random pickups that I've gotten throughout the entire year. Well, not entire year, entire second half of the summer going into now, really. So I've got a giant stack of everything all in front of me. So I'm just going to go ahead and start grabbing random things. So first up, we've got World Wrestling from Tecmo. This is a wrestling game for the NES that I do not have, that I'm excited to have. This game is licensed by Nintendo for the play on Nintendo Entertainment System. This was released in 1990 by Tecmo Inc. I've never played it. I'm excited to give it a go. I don't know what I got it for. I picked up Double Dragon, which I never had for the NES. I always thought I had it. I always did. But apparently, I never had it. And obviously, this is for the NES. This is by Tradewest. Published by Tradewest, I should say. And this is a classic. Like, if you have an NES and you don't have Double Dragon, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Next up, I've got Prisoner of War, or POW. This is by SNK. I don't think I've ever played this. What I do like is that it's an SNK game. Almost always you can pick up quality by SNK. So I'm excited to give this a go. I need to like put a stack somewhere like right here. There we go. Oh gosh. Okay. This one's interesting. So I got Konami's Rush in Attack. This is not Russian Attack like we've got the Ukraine going through right now. This is Rush in Attack. This is basically like a game that plays, I believe, like Commando. So I don't know. We've got a clear view of the Kremlin in the background. So obviously, as much as it doesn't say Russian Attack, I believe this is very much a propaganda game. Next up, we've got Tiger Heli by Acclaim. Picked this up at Game On Expo. I've never played this myself either. And that's what one thing I'm really actually excited about is a lot of these games that I purchased, I've never played. And, you know, like I'm not a gamer who can give you the backstory and history behind every game. Okay, let's just get that like right out in the open. I don't know actually a whole lot about tons of video games. You know, I learned a bunch through Slopes Game Room. I've learned a bunch through GameSack, through Metal Jesus Rocks, and so on and so forth. I can hold true and tell you a bunch of stuff about games that I've played growing up throughout the years, but there's so much more that I had to learn through other people. So yeah. And then lastly, I believe for the NES, I don't see any more, is Rambo by Acclaim. Another Acclaim game. And yeah, the label is actually like super clean all around. I've never played Rambo, so I'm excited to give it a go. Another game that I can tell you guys I picked up that I don't have around me right now. And that's what sucked is like I picked up a bunch of games, put some of them away, didn't put some of them away. So yeah, I don't have like all of them in front of me. But one of the games right behind me here that I picked up is Saturday Night Slam Masters for the SNES. I got the game, yeah, obviously the cartridge and the manual. Super excited. I got it. I got a very good deal too. It's one of those games that I've been really seeking after for a long time, especially after Shady J, or Jay from the Game Chasers, beat me at it. I believe in 2019 at Game On Expo. Barely beat me, but anyways, I've I've cosplayed as Hagar, and I've always loved that game because it was like Capcom's only real attempt at a pro wrestling style video game, but it still had somewhat of the essence of a Street Fighter. It was just a really cool game, and I think it's a really standout game. So next up for the original Xbox, we got Stubbs the Zombie and Rebel Without a Pulse. This is one of those goofy ass horror games that just really brings the nostalgia back whenever you think about it, because like I remember playing this for the first time, right? Like, let's be real. I remember playing this for the first time thinking like, wow, what am I going to do as a zombie in like a 1950s semi-futuristic, landscape, but also like retro at the same time. Like, what am I going to do? You can use your head as a bowling ball, which turns into a bomb. You can control your hand as like a little spy, like Cousin It from or Thing from the Addams Family, and so on. It's just a really fun game. It's nuts. It's crazy. You're like your hand, if you get it on a random person's head, can control their body. It's nuts. It's just crazy, and it's built with the Halo engine. It's absolutely bonkers. Next up, we've got a random entry that I've never played, but always wanted to try, never got around to it, is Jak X Combat Racing for the PS2. This is a combative racing game. You can liken it to a Twisted Metal, Vigilante 8 type of game, but it's mainly a racing game, not a vehicular combat game, but a racing game. So, it's obviously stemmed around the Jak and Daxter universe. It looks really cool, very edgy, we'll say. So there we go. Another game we got for the PlayStation 2 is Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Yeah. This is a classic, mascot platformer type of game by EA that was actually available, I believe, not only on the PS2 but on the GameCube as well. I don't think it was available on the Xbox though. Yeah, never played this game. I had a friend who was obsessed with it, who told me I should definitely get it. Well, guess what? I got it. Next up, we've got Terminator Dawn of Fate. I remember playing this demo on a PS2 demo disc and actually really liking it. It was only a sliver of gameplay, so I could be totally wrong on the game in general. But this was published excuse me, published by Atari. I really like the cover because it's like holographic and shiny and shit. Next up, we've got Tekken 4. And yes, that is how you're supposed to say the game. It's Tekken, not Tekken. Tekken. I love this series. King is my favorite motherfucking fighter of all time. I think that King should be the numero uno combatant in this series. Ooh, here we go. In the manual, we've got character bios. So let's see. We've got Kazuya, Steve Fox, Christy, Craig, Paul, martial law, Link. Here we go. King, the luchador. Yeah, baby. That guy's my favorite. Favorite of all time in the Tekken universe. So anyways, we got that made by Namco for the PS2. Next, to add some filler to my PS2 collection, I got Aggressive Inline. I've never been an inline skating fan. I was never good at it. I've tried it a few times, just couldn't get the hang of it. Always landed on my fucking tailbone. But this game looks fun. It's by Acclaim, or AKA Acclaim. I don't know. But I got it for $3, and I can't really complain about the price point there. Next up, we've got Mortal Kombat Armageddon. This is probably my favorite Mortal Kombat game that is before like the whole kind of like reboot of the series, so to speak. It's so much fun, and it's got a giant roster. This game has every single Mortal Kombat player or character from every single Mortal Kombat game up to this point, which includes 1, 2, 3, 4, Deadly Alliance. There's another one. I know I'm forgetting it. I don't remember. But anyways, it's got a giant roster. It's got a Mortal Kombat kart minigame. And this has one of the most extensive create a fighter modes you could ever ask for. I love this game so much. One of my favorite Mortal Kombats ever. Moving on, got Champions of Norath. This game is so much fun. Such a great dungeon crawler. It's a kind of a create your own character dungeon crawler. And oh yeah, Mortal Kombat Alliance Mortal Kombat Armageddon is one of the best. Champions of Norath. My buddy and I used to call this Champions of Your Ass. I don't know why we ever called it that. We blame it on our youth and being dumb, naive idiots. But Champions of Norath is such a good dungeon crawler. I remember just spending hours upon hours playing this game, and I'm very excited to finally have it back in my hands. Next, I've got the OG Splinter Cell. I picked this up for like $5. I thought I had it in my collection, but it turns out I didn't. So it's actually, I'm very fortunate to be able to pick up a very good, clean copy of this. Splinter Cell is one of those games, again, that I played for the very first time on a demo disc out of, I think it was like Official Xbox Magazine. And I was really happy with the game, rented it, and then ended up picking up all the sequels as they came out. Chaos Theory is one of my favorites for the Splinter Cell franchise. I used to love Champions. Brings back so many memories. Yeah, man. A buddy of mine, he was a drummer in my band back in the day when we were in high school. We used to play Champions of Norath weekends on end, man. Like we would play like 8 hours a session. It was crazy. There was one time I remember my TV just like kind of like hot to the touch, you know, being a CRT TV back in the day. It's a really good game. I regret never beating it, as a matter of fact. So next up, we've got Legends of Wrestling. for the Nintendo GameCube, baby. This is one of those rare games that's not affiliated specifically with the WWE/WWF or WCW, ECW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, etc. This is one of those games that's just, it's got wrestling stars that you know and love growing up, and it's kind of it's really a rarity nowadays when you think about it, because everything is so tribalistic and so specific, right? Like 2K has the rights to WWE games nowadays, and Ukes has the rights to AEW games, and so on. But this one right here, it just has all the guys you love, and this is actually one of those rare Acclaim games that's actually just really brilliant. Next up, I am so excited to say I actually own a copy of Super Mario Sunshine. This is a title in the Super Mario universe that I actually never owned growing up. The reason being, because I was a late adopter to the N64 and late adopter to the PS2, and because I had an N64 and a PS2, my parents thought it would be like spoiling me basically to get me a GameCube when I really wanted a GameCube. I played this, I remember, at a friend's house during high school, early, like my freshman year of high school, and thought this game was really fun. But that was my only experience of maybe about 10 to 15 minutes hands-on of the game myself. And the only thing it's actually missing is the manual itself. Other than that, I've got the game here, and I think, in my opinion, as a collector, of course, I do want the manual for the game, but I'm just happy to have the game because I never got it, like I said, and I'm grateful to have it. Let's see. Yes, Legends of Wrestling. I used to play that game quite a bit as a kid as well. Raw 2 was my favorite wrestling game on Xbox. So Gilman, I don't remember which exact WWE game it was. I think it might have been a Raw versus SmackDown, but one of them had like one of the best create a wrestlers ever, where you could not only create your wrestler like top down, but also walk in theme song was customizable. I believe that was specific to the Xbox because of the Xbox's music system that it had, where you could download songs or CDs or whatever. Yeah, Raw 2. Okay, then that was it. That was the one that I loved. I actually I created a wrestler that had a bull skeleton like mask helmet, and he had just the little trunks, and he walked out to a song I had downloaded on my Xbox by Blink-182, and it was a cover of Dancing with Myself by Billy Idol. And I had him walking out, and he like flexed and then humped the ground and then walked into the ring and did like another dance maneuver. But it was just so hard. Like, that image is just burned in my mind of my creative wrestler doing that. My buddy and I, the drummer of my old band, we gamed a lot together, and he rented that game one weekend, and we just had so much fun with it. It was ridiculous. I used to make custom entrances using System of a Down music. Oh yeah, like you can never go wrong with System of a Down music. As a matter of fact, I will let you know right now as a sneak peek into this week's episode of my podcast, the N Squared podcast, which you can find on any podcast platform. One of our questions from our listeners was, if you were to have a band make a walkout song for you as a pro wrestler, what would it be? And my co-host, Josh, picked System of a Down. So moving on to our next pickup, we've got Pokemon Colosseum for the Nintendo GameCube. So I'm a big fan of Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2. I've never played Pokemon Coliseum. Again, because I never had a GameCube growing up, so I'm a little bit late in catching up and whatnot. But I believe this is basically a spiritual successor / sequel to Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2. I can only imagine just off of the verbiage, Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Coliseum, both of which being stadiums or like such. But yeah, I got this for a really good deal. It's complete in the box and all that stuff. Really glad I have it. Oh my gosh, I'm running out of room. Next up, for the Nintendo GameCube, I've got Def Jam Vendetta. Funny story about this game. This was actually supposed to be the next WCW wrestling video game. But by the time this was actually getting ready to be put out as a WCW game, WCW World Championship Wrestling was eventually purchased and bought out by World Wrestling Federation, or the WWF. And I believe EA said, well, crap, we've got to put this game out still, so let's try to repackage this game as something else. So this is a rap, hip-hop, R&B pro wrestling game, I guess this is the best way you could call it. This game plays amazing. It plays so smooth. The power-up meters and everything are great. It's complete in the box and whatnot. What I really like is that even on the manual, you see like the wrestling ring, the turnbuckles and whatnot. It doesn't shy away from the fact that it is a pro wrestling game, but just in the rap and hip hop world. You've got DMX, Ludacris, Method Man, Noir, or N-O-R-E, or Noir. I always call him Noir growing up. Redman, Scarface, WC, and more. Yeah, I always loved this game. And I know it's like, what is it? Battle for New York is the really sought after one nowadays. Let's see. Gilman says, my brother had Pokemon Coliseum and I had the sequel XD Gale of Darkness. Is that so do they play like Pokemon stadiums? I kind of gather from such that it does. Well, I could be totally completely wrong. Oh. You guys will have to excuse my unflattering camera angle and lighting. It's 12:43 in the morning here in Arizona. I had to get this stream going because I'm bursting at the seams with pickups. I mean, this is not going to be a real quick pickups video. I've got so much to go through. I've already gone through this big stack of games, this stack of games, plus this game. So yeah. Anyways, we'll just keep moving on. I did recently pick up the TMNT Cowabunga collection for the PS5. Amazing pickup. I think this has to be in literally everybody's collection this year. It's got like 13 games for a price tag of like $40, even for the PS5 or the Xbox Series X. They are single-player games with a story, but have a stadium-like side mode as well. Oh, right on. That actually sounds really interesting, so I'll be excited to play that. I actually have my CRT TV in my bedroom alongside with my LED TV, so I've been playing a lot of like PS2 and PS1 titles lately, more or less PS1 titles lately. Actually, earlier today or tonight, I was actually playing NFL Blitz for the PS1. I love the pick up and play, very fast, go action style kind of game that is. It really works well with my ADHD, so it's very fun. But yeah, Cowabunga collection. Pick it up if you haven't yet. Next up, so at Game On Expo this year, I picked up loose Mario Tennis for the Nintendo 64. And then literally a week later, I picked up the box and all of the inserts and manuals inside. So now I can actually say I've got the game complete in box. I just need to put it in the box, which is totally awesome and I'm completely happy about. Next up for the N64, I've got WWF Attitude. I don't think I ever had this game growing up. I know my cousin had it for the N64, and I played it there, but I don't think I had much more experience than a time or two of playing it. But I am excited because I love old school wrestling games. Oh, if they don't say LJN on them, I love them. Oh, next up, okay, this one hits a tender spot in my heart, mainly just for nostalgia reasons. I miss being a 9-year-old kid in the year 2000, and imagining what Naboo would be like in real life because that place looks beautiful. So speaking of which, we've got Star Wars Episode 1, Battle for Naboo on the N64. I know this game might not be for everybody, but I really enjoy it, and I enjoy just the sentiment around it. I don't know why, and it's gonna come off so weird, but like as a kid, I always thought Naboo, and I always wished Naboo was a real place because I loved all the greenery, the water around the place, and I loved the architecture of all the buildings, if that makes any sense. I know it sounds way like way out of whack for a 9-year-old to say, like, oh, I love the architecture of this place, this imaginary place. But yeah, I don't know what it was about episode 1, but it just really made me like fall in love even more with Star Wars. And I know that's very controversial because a lot of people hate episode 1. Next up, let's see. We've got Tiger Shark for the PS1. Never played this game. This comes from GT Software Interactive and N Space. This is like a aquatic vehicular combat type of game. On the front, it says a killer submarine, a deadly hydrofoil, the ultimate war machine. It looked fun, and I've never heard of it, to be completely honest. Picked it up for like $8, and it looked really fun. So I'm excited to play it. And here's the deal: a lot of these games that I'm showing off, I haven't gotten to play yet because what I do is I tend to, when I'm going out game hunting, comic collecting, whatever, is I'll buy things and then put them in a big stack, right? And then that big stack becomes a stack for a pickups video or whatever. So once I do the video, I can finally start to put the games away in appropriate places and actually start to play them and whatnot. I've been collecting a lot of this stuff since like the middle of August. So it's been a while, and I've been itching to play a lot of this stuff, but I've just been so swamped with getting ready for my wedding next month and my daughter being, now a quarter deep into 3rd grade and stuff. It's just been so hard. Like, I feel terrible because like I'm a horrible YouTuber. Like my YouTube channel has been neglected so poorly because of just the busy life schedule, as well as my schedule for my podcast. I've kind of been prioritizing that over my YouTube channel, and I need to find a better even balance for that. Gilman says, there are oh wait, no, we already read that. Cool. I actually only played Mario Tennis in Japanese because my friend had a Japanese imported N64. Oh wow, that's crazy. I bet it was probably still like even to or like not even, what am I, easily. It was, I'm sure it was probably easily you were probably able to kind of like sort through the menu and all that, since it was, not too difficult of a menu system from what I remember. Next up, I've got Warriors of Might and Magic by 3DO for the PS1. This one hits home in a very nostalgic way. This was a PS1 game that I remember playing, I want to say early 2001. Um, Gosh, a buddy of mine, I was in 5th grade, he was in 3rd grade. We were down in his basement playing the PS1, snacking on chips and shit. And gosh, we had to play this game for at least like 5 or 6 hours that day. And then we finally made it to the pool in the backyard. It was just crazy. It was a fun time. I really love this game just because of that sentiment and what it brings, nostalgic wise. And I think that's if I'm just being completely blunt, I think that's a big time reason why collectors collect, is just because of nostalgia and the feelings that it brings to you. Because it gives you peace, and it gives you, yeah, it gives you peace. And I think nowadays, more often than not, it's harder to find that kind of peace. And I think that's really important. And that's why I'll never rag on legitimate collectors who collect to reassemble their childhood, because a lot of people lose that in life growing up. And it's really important to keep that intact and grounded. It's all good. I'll have to catch your podcast. I'm glad I caught your live stream. Well, I'm glad you caught it too, man. I was gonna do this live stream either which way, because like I know it's really late and stuff, but I really needed to do it. And I was like, you know what, if no one watches it, oh well. And if some people watch it maybe tomorrow when it like re-uploads itself or whatever, cool. But I just wanted to do it, like my fiance is out of town on a work trip. I don't have my daughter this week, unfortunately. So I was like, I'm home by myself. I got all this stuff that's piling up that I really need to broadcast, so I can finally put it away and actually start playing with things. So why not tonight? I recorded my podcast. My buddy left, and I was like, okay, now I need to get this going. This next game is a holy grail game of mine that I found on the very last day, within the actually very last hour of Game On Expo this year. And it was Action Man Operation Extreme. This game is almost like a Metal Gear Solid clone with bird eye view vehicular segments. I'm a big fan of the Action Man CGI show that was on, I believe it was Fox Kids in the late 90s, early 2000s. I got this game for Christmas one year. I want to say it was 99 or 2000. And I don't know what happened to it. And I was looking for it for at least the last 5 years. I don't like to buy games online because I like the thrill of the hunt. I like being able to get it physically and finding it like at a booth or something. And that is exactly what happened this year. I went into a booth on the last day of Game On Expo, and I was like, well, you know what? I haven't gone in here yet. I've gone through all the other major booths and whatnot. Let me see if this one has it. And so I walk in, and it's a really small booth, like a 10 by 10, maybe even smaller. And I look up on this corner shelf that had a bunch of games on it, and I like take a peek right before I'm about to leave, and it was like behind the register and stuff, so I'm kind of like leaning over but not trying to be like a jerk about it. And then I see the letter A And I'm like, oh my God, it's Action Man. Oh my God. I'm like, how much do you want for it? And they go, $10. And I was like, done deal. It's just such a fun game. And like, again, it brings me peace. You know, when I play this game, now I'll think about the time when I played it on that Christmas Eve when I opened this game up, put it in my PlayStation, and played it until I fell asleep waiting for Santa to come visit my house. And, you know, I don't think you can ask for anything more pure of an experience than that. And that's why I picked it up. Next up, we've got something that you're really not going to find anywhere else outside of Arizona. I mean, it might be out in the wild, but it's going to be pretty hard, and that is the Doom collection for the Sega Dreamcast by Evil Jared. So this has Doom, Ultimate Doom, Doom 2, Final Doom, and more. On top of Final Doom, it has 16 episodes of Wolfen Doom and various other complete graphical hacks. Yeah. Evil Jared does amazing work. I picked up I believe it was a Splatterhouse collection that he had put out for the Sega Dreamcast not too long ago. I believe it was 2019 when I picked that up. And when I saw this on their booth this year, I was like, yes, I need this. I love Doom. I'm a giant fan of Doom 2016, Doom Eternal as well. I listen to the soundtrack every time I work out. Mick Gordon is a legend. So I was like, yes, I need it. Let's have it. Boy, oh boy, is this angle like totally not flattering at all. Anyways, next up, we've got Rayman Rush. This is a really fun game. It's a racing game, and it almost plays kind of like oh my goodness, Micromaniacs for the PS1 as well. That was a Fox Kids game developed by Infogrames. This one obviously is developed by Ubisoft because they, you know, did Rayman stuff. So this is basically a, you know, run as fast as you can around the course kind of game. Really not a whole lot to it. Gilman says, Doom is awesome. Doom Eternal is one of my favorite games. Yeah, Doom Eternal has to be in my top 5 games of all time. I mean, like, legit. Not, you know, blowing smoke up its butt or anything. Like, I love the hell out of that game. I will say that the DLC for that game was a little bit kind of hard just to be hard kind of game, but I did love it. So much fun, so challenging, but it's also so rewarding once you get past certain obstacles or segments of the game, like some gore nests or whatnot that were just like super challenging. It's such a fun game. I love it. Moving on, we've got one of the most nostalgic Army Men games I ever have is Army Men World War Team Assault. I love that in this game you can pilot, or not pilot, but rather man a turret in an airplane. You know, you have all the ground and you have all the ground assault as well. You know, you can pilot a tank and whatnot. The Army Men games, the further they got into the franchise, the better they got. You know, I have Army Men just by 3DO. It's just plain ass Army Men. Fun game. Like a mayonnaise kind of game. It's just like it's got a little bit of flavor to it, but it's pretty bland. But as the further along they went, the better they got. Next up, I've got Mighty Fight Federation right here for the Nintendo Switch by Premium Edition Games. This is like it is a Super Smash Bros. Like game. It has like Toe Jam and Earl in it. It's got Ukulele in it. It's got the two main characters from River City Ransom in it, as well as a plethora of other characters that you can play as. I haven't opened it yet because obviously I've been waiting to open it up and do this whole stream or video, but it's a competitive 4-player arena fighting game. So it is right up my alley as far as like turn off your brain and have some fun kind of game goes. I love the retro packaging it comes in. It looks just like an NES game. I love the products that Premium Edition comes out with. And if you don't know who they are or what they're about, you can check out my podcast from Game On Expo, where I interview their staff live at Game On Expo and hear what they're all about. Next up, we're going to be taking a sip of beer. Tonight, I am drinking Peaceful Pumpkin by Mudshark Brewing Company out of Lake Havasu City, Arizona. It's an amazing beer. I love this beer. It's so tasty, so good. So next up, as you guys know, I love comics. I love video games. I love collecting toys and all that stuff, but I also love collecting VHS. And what did I pick up? I picked up Street Fighter the movie on VHS. And this is a clean VHS copy of the movie, baby. And if you're wondering, yes, I do watch my VHS tapes. I don't just collect them and send them off to WATA or Heritage or whoever. I don't have anything graded whatsoever. And that's saying a lot because I have a sealed Back to the Future McDonald's promo VHS tape sealed. But you know what? I don't care about all this grading bullshit. I just like having the stuff around and I like watching it. There's nothing like watching a horror movie on VHS during the Spooktober month. There's nothing beats it. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to another game. We're gonna segue from VHS game or VHS movie based on a game back into games. I got Tekken 7 or Tekken 7 for the PS4. Again, as I said earlier in this video, I love this franchise. I love King especially in the franchise, and I think he deserves a whole solo movie. I could go into my premise for what I believe that would be, but we'll leave that for another video. All right, guys. Next up, I picked up a Scout controller for the SNES by Hyperkin. This is just your modern day replacement controller for your SNES. It's more ergonomic, and I also got the Cadet controller for your NES, which, as you can see, it's got the like kind of curved corners, which again makes it more ergonomic and easier to hold. That's for your NES. I do have the Hyperkin, what is it, Retron 5 system. So I do have that. It's hooked up to my big, 70-inch LED TV. So it makes it way easier to play old school games on modern day platforms. But sometimes your old school controllers kind of break down after a while and stuff. So that's why I picked up these two guys for that system. Next guy, let's see. Do you have Street Fighter the movie, the video game? I actually don't. I had the opportunity to buy it, but I think it was kind of ridiculously priced. So I didn't pick it up after all. I kind of had a little bit of like reverse buyer's remorse because I didn't get it. But at the same time, I just couldn't. I know I wouldn't have like sat right with myself had I paid what the dealer was asking for the game. I feel like because if a game has Sega Saturn on the label, it's already like ridiculously priced. And then you factor in, like Street Fighter, the movie, the game, it's a meme of itself. Oh, excuse me. But people are going to charge even more for that, which would not even be that good of a game. Excuse me. Um, but yeah, I didn't pick it up, unfortunately. Next up, though. Oh my goodness! I did grab Alien versus Predator for the SNES by Activision. I understand it's not the exact same game really at all that the arcade beat 'em up is based on, but either way, I needed to get it. When I saw it, I know the vendor that was selling it, and he gave me a great deal on it, and I think either way, it's still a fun game. No, it's not the same again as the arcade game, but it's still a fun game once you subtract that from this one. You're not missing much. It was a horrible game. Your buyer's remorse would have definitely kicked in. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Like it would almost be like buying that game just to say I have it, because I probably would never really honestly play it. And that's the thing. I don't buy stuff I'm not going to play, and I don't like buy movies I'm not going to watch. Like to me, it's just a waste of money. I'm not going to have something. I mean, the only thing I will say is my Back to the Future. I have it like right behind the camera here. My Back to the Future sealed McDonald's promo VHS. Like, it's factory sealed. I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to leave it in there because it's like, to me, it's preserving a piece of history right there. I'm not going to send it off to get graded. I'm not going to, send it off to an auction. I'm not going to try to sell it on eBay. I personally am just going to try to keep it preserved in its state as long as I can, because that's how much the franchise means to me. That's how much VHS collecting means to me. And like, that's just my integrity, So let's see. I'm going to take a sip real quick. My throat's kind of getting a little dry. These next two pickups, I think you'll really get a kick out of. So I'm actually pretty decent friends with the actual acting cast of Mortal Kombat, the video games for 1, 2, and 3. Well, and some of 4. So this year, I finally asked them to autograph my Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 2 copies of the game. These games are signed by Master Daniel Pesina, Carlos Pesina, and Ho-Sung, who basically was Liu Kang. And I was very excited to have these two signed. That I need to show. So most recently, I don't know, whoever just joined in on the live stream, I am showing off my Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 for the Sega Genesis that were autographed by Master Daniel Pesina, Carlos Pesina, and Ho-Sung Pak. I believe that's his last name. Ho-Sung. A while now, and I finally asked them to autograph my copies of the games. I always felt kind of like awkward asking them to sign them after I had gotten to know them for so long. But I'm grateful that I did because god dang, they look so awesome. All right, next up, I picked up a book from Brett Weiss. This is the 100 Greatest console video games from 1977 to 1987. This is a hefty boy. This is not just a coffee table book. Like, he has got some really good artwork and whatnot thrown in. Let's see, I've got some. Let me pull up a random page. So here you go. He's got some lengthy write-ups about games. He's got some artwork images as well. Some images of the game itself. Let me see if I can pull up a modern-ish day. There is a whole lot of Atari in this book, a whole lot of ColecoVision, even some Vectrex. It's a really good book that I definitely recommend anyone who wants to brush up on their history of video games, but at chunks at a time, instead of having a overwhelming giant compendium of video game knowledge. Next up, I started to pick up and collect for the My Hero Academia collectible card game. And yes, I have played this. This is a 2-player starter kit, I guess. It comes with 2 decks. It comes with instructions, 2 playing mats, and everything you need to know to be able to get to know how to play the game. It was actually really fun once we got the hang of it. It's more convoluted than like trying to pick up and play Pokemon, for example. But it's actually a really fun game. The cards are really cool looking and whatnot. But yeah, I picked this up at Tucson Comic-Con, I believe. Let's see. Let me catch up with a comment. Gillen says, "Wow, that's amazing. MK2 is my favorite MK game. I used to watch all their behind the scenes of how they made the fighters. Baraka was a Halloween mask with nails." Yeah. It is really crazy once you get to know like all the ins and outs of everything and whatnot. Gosh, yeah. I remember I was so starstruck when I was a guest at a gaming the hotel to the venue, and I open up the door, to the van, and Daniel Pacina, who plays Johnny Cage, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, to name a few characters, and he's sitting right there. And then right behind us in the seats back is Tim Kitzrow, who for NBA Jam and did the voiceovers for like NFL Blitz and whatnot. He's sitting right behind us talking with Paul Niemeyer. He's the artist who came up with this symbol and everything, and it was a very surreal moment. And I was like, I better soak all this in because this is like a once in a lifetime kind of deal. And ever since then, we've been buddies, and it's by it, to say the least. So next up, it's going to get a little niche here, but I did pick up, so for the My Hero Academia trading card game, they do sell like booster packs and larger packs, which are called DLC packs, which I thought was funny because they're called, oh goodness, I forgot what they're called now. It was deck loadable cards, something like that. I can't remember. But anyways, they came with some pretty cool character cards. They're all really holographic. Oh, gosh, the lighting is so bad right now. But yeah, they're really holographic. So I got Yuga Aoyama. So he's like the naval laser hero. And then he came with his own set of cards. And then I got my favorite student from the anime is Kirishima. Red Riot. So I got 3 of him, and they're all holos as well. And again, like I said, this is niche, so I understand if not everyone watching this is totally into it. And then we got Denki, which is the electrical. He's the Pikachu of the class. He's really cool. So these are all holos as well. It's a really fun game. It's just a little challenging on how to learn, especially if you're just like going off of like written instruction. Oh, and we also got Momo. So she's a really cool student as well. She can literally create anything, like the ingredients of something, for example, or like how something is made. So I got a bunch of these cards. Yeah, deck loadable content, I think is what those cards are called. Anyways, moving on. I got another VHS tape here, and this one hits really close to home because this is one of my favorite horror franchises of all time. I got Scream for VHS, and I am just so darn grateful. Look at this. It says, "Please rewind tape." Check that out. It's just so awesome. Oh gosh. It says store number 650, date June 24th, 1997. I had just turned 6 years old in one day during when this got dated. Gosh. On the VHS, it is literally printed. It says, "Recommend this thriller to friends." Oh, you can see that right there in the bubble next to where the Scream title is. But man, this is such a great movie. Totally kicked off an amazing franchise. Ah, I love it. My goodness. I guess, gosh, we've got so much stuff to go through still. I've already done this for an hour. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I got Midnight Massacre, Ghost Rider, Spirits of Vengeance, Blaze. This one is really cool because it looks like a leather-bound cover, even though it's not. I know, like, yeah, looks really. Mighty Thor, friend against friend. No matter who loses, Mephisto wins. I know Mephisto has been very popular amongst those channels who have been trying to guess who's behind every single angle in the current MCU stuff. Got X-Man, after Xavier, the Age of Apocalypse. I'm a big sucker for art styles of around this time, which I believe would be like 1997, 1998. Also got another deluxe X-Man after Xavier, Age of Apocalypse. Excuse me. And another X-Man here, guest starring Rogue, titled Execution. I got so many comics from Tucson Comic Con, it was a bit ridiculous. We've got a Cable comic here, Special Heroes Reborn update inside, from October 1996. A Prayer for the Dying. I've got Turok number 5, not in a sleeve, but what's really cool about this one is on the back, it's got Mortal Monday, September. So awesome. Got another Cable comic right here. This is issue 13. Looks super diabolical. Battery is running low. I've got Nightman featuring Gamble. This is number 1 from Malibu Comics. Or not Gamble, Gambit. Nightman featuring Gambit. I don't know. I've never heard of this before.
I know I picked it up out of pure curiosity. Got a Captain America, The Return of Claw, The End of the World. Got Captain America right here, March number 15. Okay. Moving on quick because I don't want the laptop to die. Got Ghost Rider and Blaze, Spirits of Venom, not Vengeance this time. This is part 2 of 4. It's a really cool cover, and I just wanted to have it. Got Spider-Man Classics First Smash issue, plus a bonus, a special bonus, The Origin of Doctor Strange. Got Spider-Man Unlimited. This one's a thick boy. Another Spider-Man Unlimited, Lizard's Prey. X-Men versus the Avengers, number 1 in a 4-issue limited series. We've got X-Men 2099. This is a semi-foil cover. I love these covers. These covers are so awesome. I love any and all foil comic covers. I'm a sucker for that stuff. Which is exactly why I picked up XO Man-O-War, which is a totally foil cover. I know. This one I was really excited to pick up because it hits home. It is X-Men, the movie, the prequel comic for Rogue. That's a thick one too. Got Wolverine, Colossus, and Nightcrawler, and X-Men Mutant Menace. This one's really cool simply for the fact that it is a special edition Penguin Triumphant. Got a couple of Predator comics here. Predator Race War, number 1 of 4. We've got Predator 2, the comic book, part 2 of 2. Also picked up The Phantom, presenting Lee Falk's classic superhero. This is issue number 1 of the 4-part miniseries. We've got a Painkiller Jane and Hellboy, number 1. We've got this really nifty X-Force comic. All right, I think I've got enough battery left just to sign off for now. So I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Whoever was a part of this live stream, thank you so much. Make sure to check out the N Squared podcast, available on all major podcast platforms. That is capital N, capital S, QUARED podcast. You can find me, of course, here. You can find me on Twitter at BuffNerd and on Instagram at NerdyNick_91. Thank you so much, guys. I guess I'll open up all my cards in the next live stream and show you guys a few more comics. Until next time, I've been Nerdy Nick. Stay classy.